Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm actually going to be putting out two videos. I will be putting out a Journey to Endgame video later on this evening, but right now, because we had the trailer for Star Wars Episode 9 drop today, I would like to break that down. I've watched the trailer a few times. It's just a teaser. It's relatively short. There's not too much to it, but I just wanted to break down what we see and kind of just give my thoughts on what we're doing here. So, the first, so the movie is coming out at Christmas time of this year, so we're still about 8 months off from the premiere. And then on top of that, we also have all of the fallout, obviously from Last Jedi and Solo and all of that crap. So, this movie is not going into theaters on a good note. Let's just put it that way. So it really needs to make up some ground. J.J. Abrams is coming back to do directing duties after Colin Trevorrow was fired and after Ryan Johnson royally mucked up The Last Jedi. So uh, JJ again has his work cut out for him, and personally, I don't think he's a director that could pull that off since he steals most of his material from better directors. But, or I shouldn't say steals, homages, I guess is the proper term. I use steals. But going back, we have our cast of characters who we see most of them in the trailer. We do see Daisy Ridley coming back as Rey. We see John Boyega as Finn. We get a few little brief shots of Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, BB-8, obviously. We have the stock footage of Princess Leia that was supposedly from Episode 7 that is going to be integrated into this film. So she is technically in the movie, even though Carrie Fisher has been dead for, I think, a little over 2 years now. We also have a few brief shots again of Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. And so just to get into the trailer, we start off with Rey. She's on a desert planet. Again, you have to use desert planets. I don't know if this is Jakku or Tatooine, or, like I like to refer to Jakku as, Tatooine 2.0. It's basically the same planet. But she looks exactly like she did back in that first movie in Force Awakens. She doesn't look. She hasn't really progressed in looks, and from what I understood, this film was supposed to take place a number of years after The Last Jedi. I think what I remember hearing the rumor was 5, and she looks like she has not changed in any way, shape, or form. She looks like she's even wearing the same clothes. So I don't even know. I doubt this is a flashback, but it does show that she has Luke's blue lightsaber, which it appears that she is fixed, and she's basically, it looks like she's playing a game of chicken with a TIE interceptor. Now, it's also to note that Luke Skywalker is doing a voiceover at this point in the trailer, and he's talking about how 1,000 generations have been passed down to her, and yada yada yada. Probably because she is essentially the last of what would be considered the Jedi, even though, again, she has no formal training, and apparently everything just comes naturally to her. So that's kind of another thing that's like, okay, we're going through the thing again, and that leads up to a point where she runs and jumps over the TIE fighter, and then it cuts off and it goes into a bunch of these little snippet scenes. So here, that opening scene of that trailer does have some problems with it. Most notably, the fact that, again, these are problems that are carried over from the previous films, of the idea like, okay, she was powerful enough to beat the bad guy in the first movie. She's powerful enough to beat the bad guy in the second movie. So why are we not surprised that she's powerful enough to do all that? Now we're being told that she's powerful again. So, you're just reiterating a point that you've already made in 2 films, and it makes the character disinteresting. So moving past that, we go into a few little shots here. We get to see a shot of Adam Driver, what looks like he's with stormtroopers and stuff. He's killing somebody with his lightsaber. We also get a shot in the same vignette of him. What we believe to be him. We don't see his face, but we see him. Somebody soldering back together his helmet, or welding back together the Kylo Ren helmet, the one that he smashed at the beginning of Last Jedi. So it's possible he could be back in the helmet at some point during this, or that could be somebody else in there as well. So then, moving forward, we have the shots of Carrie Fisher, which I again, the stuff like this falls on Rian Johnson quite a bit, with the decision not to kill Carrie Fisher's character off in the Last Jedi and kill off Luke Skywalker instead, because you have Mark Hamill for this movie. You knew you had Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher was deceased before the movie came out. She had finished her filming of it, but it was still in production. So you had a chance to alter that and kill her off and send her out, with a kind of, dignity. But instead, you're parading around the corpse of a dead woman on a trailer screen, which again I find it just entirely grossly mismanaged. Um, and again, it's a scene where she's hugging Ray and stuff like that. So okay, whatever. We move on from that. Um, then we get we get the snippets of the characters. Nothing really too interesting. There's a scene where it looks like Oscar Isaac, BB-8, and uh, John Boyega are all on this. It looks almost like a skiff, kind of similar to the one from Return of the Jedi, where they're gonna throw Luke and Han and everybody into the Sarlacc pit. Those, it looks kind of like that. They're getting shot at by some lasers and stuff like that. Again, nothing giving too much away. Most of it really has very little to do with the actual story that we can tell. There's a few different planets that we do get to see. Most of it is actually that beginning part on the desert planet. And then, again, we have this voiceover from Luke, but at the end of it, they're all looking at this. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't even know what it is. It looks like a mountain. They're on some planet where it's not a. I don't know. It doesn't look like an ice planet or anything like that, but it's a giant, massive mountain, and they're looking at it. And Luke, the has his final line of the trailer, which is "We're never really gone," and then it fades out, and you hear the laugh of Darth Sidious. Now that caught me off guard in a sense, because why is he in this movie? He got vaporized in Episode 6, unless he's back as like a Sith Force ghost or something like that. Even though we've never seen the Sith have a Force ghost. Um, so that again, that threw me off a little bit. And then the title of the movie is Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. Um, Now that has a few could have a few different meanings. I personally don't really care much for that title. It feels very I don't know. It doesn't sound right. Whenever they put character names and stuff in the title, a lot of the other ones had some decent titles and stuff like that. Honestly, I think The Last Jedi is a great title, even though that movie was a piece of crap. But looking back, overall, the trailer I don't think really did much. Again, it's a teaser. It's just supposed to give you kind of a very loose idea of what's going on. But it doesn't really show the characters have changed all that much physically. They all kind of look relatively similar to what they did in the previous films. There's no real change in the costumes, actually, for the most part, either. Where Daisy Ridley literally looks like she's in the exact same costume she was in the Force Awakens, which I find kind of odd. I figured you'd change her over into something, because a big portion of the original trilogy was the changing over of Luke's costume, where he starts out white and then goes to gray and then eventually in black when he went in Return of the Jedi. So I thought that aesthetic choice was very strange. And then, of course, you have the title now is in blue, where you had the Force Awakens was yellow, Last Jedi was red, now we're in blue. Um, like I said, I'm not really excited for this movie. This trailer did not get me excited for this movie. Um, you know, if you're interested to see where this goes, then you might be more excited to see some of the stuff in this trailer. Again, it doesn't really show too much action, nothing that we really don't already know. It doesn't show any of the Knights of Ren or anything like that. Some of the more interesting stuff is probably the stuff with Kylo Ren's helmet and things of that nature. But I'll link the trailer in the description below for anybody that hasn't seen it. And you know, leave in the comments your opinion. If you like the trailer, If you're excited to see the movie, if you're not, if you thought the trailer was crap, whatever, leave your opinions in the comments. Put a like on the video. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?